These different gamma modes allow us an awful lot of opportunity. We can swing these up or down, but first let's get into our gamma mode selects. So here's our Cine 4, Cine 3, Cine 2, Cine 1. So remember, if we're in these four modes, our knee control does not function for us. Then we have our standard gamma 4, 3, 2, and 1. We've got a number of different options for the way these gamma curves function. Now on the screen here you can see some gamma curves, and these are simulated curves. They're not directly out of the camera, but they give you an idea of how the slopes of the different knees work in the camcorder and the way that it's crushing the blacks and cutting off the high end, or boosting the bottom end and cutting off the top end. So these are all different gamma curves that are built in within the inside of the camera. You can see a variety of pictures going by here to give you an idea of how these different knees look. I'm going to set this up to standard number 2. That's one of the favorites I have. And we can control the amount. These are very fine detail, but we can really pump some things up in these shots if that's what we're after doing. Okay, we'll cancel out of here. And next we'll slide down to our black level. This allows us to crush the blacks, or actually set our master black level. You want to be very cautious with this. Again, use an external monitor as you're setting this up, because if you swing it too far, you could create some issues for yourself. Next, we have black gamma. Now, this is similar to a black stretch as we've seen on the other camcorders, or the lower cost camcorders in the HDV line and in the DV line. The black stretch allows us to really sink those blacks down in and help prevent noise from creeping into our picture in some of those different shots. If we're dealing with well-lit subjects against black backgrounds, for instance, maybe a sporting event where we've got murk vapor lights or bright halogen lights on the field, and we're shooting against black sky, this is something that you want to play with to get it set up to where you'd like it. And once you've found some of these that you like, you'll want to, of course, store them in the camcorder. Cancel out of that. Low-key saturation. Now this is kind of hidden deep in the menu, but this is one of my favorite things in this particular camcorder. The low-key sat allows us to boost up the color saturation in the darker areas of our screen. Now even though this is a half-inch imager, and even though it can handle large amounts of gain, the low-key sat will allow us to go into some of those lower light areas and pump up the chroma saturation instead of raising the overall luminance and chroma saturation of a shot. In other words, this can save you in those low light situations, maybe shooting a wedding or some kind of event where you've got very dim light, and in the process of the camera trying to get whatever it can get, the chroma or the saturation sort of takes a back seat. And this low-key sat allows us to pump that up. So we can turn this quite a ways up. You can see that really cranking up the saturation in the darker areas of the screen. We'll swing that back down. And of course, to the converse, we can desaturate those colors in the darker areas of the screen too. That makes for some very interesting picture combinations. Okay, next, we have a copy control. This allows us to copy a picture profile and store it somewhere else. It might be that we've got a picture profile that we want to use as a starting point for another picture profile. So we can copy these and store them on our card and then recall them a little bit later on if that's something that we'd like to do. And then next we have reset, which resets everything back to 0 in our picture profile. So as soon as we set this, you'll see our picture change dramatically. Picture profiles might seem like they're very simple. However, once we start combining the various picture matrices with the various gamma modes that we've got in the shot, we can then zero in and really create some great looks. And they're very unusual looks. Now the camera doesn't ship with any picture profiles. They're all there for you to create what you'd like to create. Again, I recommend that you look at the extras folder on this DVD and you'll see some picture profile modes that you might like for your particular type of shooting.